let's dig into this review you sent. We're doing a deep dive today, just one source. It's a review of a film called Armand.
Right, from Moviescramble by Mary Munoz.
And this film, Armand, it's the feature debut from Halfdan Ullmann Tøndel.
Yeah, and that name might ring a bell for film buffs. He's the grandchild of Liv Ullmann and Ingmar Bergman. Quite the cinematic lineage there.
Wow, exactly. And starring Renate Reinsve, who, you know, everyone remembers from The Worst Person in the World.
Oh, absolutely. Incredible performance in that. So, yeah, high expectations maybe.
You'd think so. So our mission here is to unpack what this review actually tells us about Armand. You know, what's the story, what works, what doesn't, should you check it out?
Okay.
The basic premise sounds pretty intense. You've got a mother, Elizabeth, that's Renate Reinsve's character. She gets called into her son Armand's school. He's only 6.
Right.
And there's been a serious allegation made against him. Sexual assault alleged by his friend, John.
Oof, yeah, that's heavy stuff right from the start. And she walks into a meeting.
Yeah, she's facing, like, a panel. 3 teachers, plus John's parents, Sarah and Anders.
So a really confrontational setup.
Totally. And the review says it quickly spirals into, you know, adult rivalries, egos, personal issues bubbling up.
And Elizabeth, the mother, she starts to kind of unravel under the pressure.
That's what it sounds like. And the big question hanging over it all is, do we ever find out what really happened between these 2 6-year-olds?
Right. Does the truth come out?
The review really kicks off by talking about the atmosphere the film built.
Yeah, it seems like that's a key element early on. The reviewer mentions ominous music, gray skies. Sets a pretty specific mood.
Definitely not a comedy.
Huh.
And the school itself sounds kind of creepy. Disorienting corridors, empty spaces.
Close-ups on class photos, too, suggesting something's wrong underneath, you know?
Yeah, unsettling. And the sound design gets a specific mention.
It does. Apparently the sound of shoes on the polished floors is really noticeable. Like a ticking bomb, the review says.
Oh, wow. That's effective. Really builds that tension.
And there are other details, too, like the heating's broken in the school, the fire alarm keeps going off randomly.
It's just adding layers of discomfort and anxiety to the whole scene.
Exactly. And it's mostly set in just one classroom, right?
Yeah.
Which dials up that claustrophobic feeling.
Makes sense. So the review seems pretty positive about how the film initially establishes this tense, almost suffocating atmosphere.
Yeah, it sounds like the first act, or at least the beginning, really nails the mood.
Okay, but mood isn't everything. What about the acting? You mentioned Renate Reinsve.
The reviewer was seriously impressed. Calls the performances very strong throughout.
And Reinsve specifically?
She gets major praise. Tremendous form, the review says. Just as strong as in The Worst Person in the World.
That's high praise indeed.
It is. And apparently her performance really drives the tension in that meeting room. Her character reacts unusually to the allegations.
How so?
Well, there's this one scene the reviewer points out where she just starts giggling uncontrollably.
Oh, that sounds awkward and unsettling.
It's really jarring. And her character seems to swing between, like, arrogant disbelief, how dare you accuse my son, and this really aggressive denial.
She questions taking a 6-year-old's word for it.
Yeah, and dismisses all the talk about open dialogue as just, you know, empty words.
Sounds like a difficult character.
Definitely. And the review says as the meeting goes on, her grip on reality deteriorates. So it sounds like Reinsve gets a lot to work with there, showing that breakdown.
But it's not just her, right? What about the other mother, John's mom?
Dorrit Petersen as Sarah also gets called out for a powerful performance.
Okay.
The review mentions her dipped chin death stare. Sounds intense.
Yeah.
And interestingly, the review suggests her push for justice might be tangled up with some personal jealousies.
Ah, so it's not just about the kids. There's history between the adults, maybe.
It hints at that. Makes her breakdown feel more like a personal defeat than just pure parental anger. Adds another layer.
Interesting. What about the teachers caught in the middle?
They get mentioned too. One is apparently always on edge. Another keeps having these nosebleeds that just stop the conversation cold.
Little details that add to the chaos and the tension in the room.
Exactly. It sounds like the whole ensemble really works together in that pressure cooker environment. The performances seem like a definite highlight.
So, okay. Intense premise, great atmosphere, strong acting across the board. Sounds like a winner, right?
Well,
yeah.
This is where the review kind of pivots. Despite that strong start, the reviewer feels the film doesn't quite manage to live up to this promise.
Oh, how so?
The main criticism seems to be that it squanders any meaningful plot points in favor of stylistic choices.
Stylistic choices, like what?
The reviewer felt there were great ideas floating around, but they didn't get fleshed out properly. They didn't lead to a satisfying conclusion.
Okay.
And they point to some specific scenes that felt, well, weirdly out of place.
Right.
There's apparently a curious dance scene between Elizabeth and the school janitor, described as light and whimsical.
Huh. In the middle of all this tension.
Yeah. And then, totally different tone. There's a strange, scary, groping scene with Elizabeth and some other parents called Ugly and Uncomfortable.
Wow, okay. That sounds jarring.
Exactly. The reviewer was left wondering why these scenes were even in there, especially since the rest of the film seems to play it pretty straight, dramatically speaking.
So these artistic flourishes maybe didn't quite connect with the main story.
That seems to be the issue for this critic. It made the film feel a little convoluted with no real payoff.
And the central mystery, what actually happened between the boys?
Left completely up in the air. The reviewer says they felt every bit as unsure of the truth at the end as at the beginning.
And for them, that was a flaw, not like intentional ambiguity.
For this reviewer, it felt like a weakness, yeah. Like the film didn't deliver on its central question.
Okay.
The overall impression the review gives is that the director, Tøndel, might have been caught between two kinds of films.
Like a straightforward talking in rooms drama, which it seems to do well.
Right, capitalizing on those performances and the claustrophobia. And then maybe something more artistic and complex.
And it ended up falling messily in the middle.
That's the reviewer's take, stuck between those two approaches.
So even with Reinsve being fantastic...
Yeah, even her great performance wasn't enough, in the reviewer's eyes, for the film to really succeed overall. It didn't stay top of the class, as they put it.
Sounds like the ambition might have tripped it up a bit.
That's the sense you get, that the attempt to blend styles maybe muddied the waters and diluted the impact.
So let's boil it down. What's the final takeaway from this review of Armand?
Well, Mary Munoz calls it a strong feature-length debut overall for Ullmann Tøndel. Acknowledges the talent.
But with definite misfires.
Exactly. It's described as an intriguing drama, one that makes some unusual choices.
But maybe not as bold or as brave as it wants to be? Is that the idea?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The feeling is great performances, really strong atmospheric start.
But ultimately let down because the plot gets confusing and there's no real sense of resolution or payoff at the end.
Yeah, it sounds like a film with real promise.
Yeah.
Flashes of brilliance, especially in the acting and the initial setup.
But maybe it struggles to hold it all together or deliver a fully satisfying conclusion to that core mystery it sets up.
That's the picture painted by this particular review.
Okay, so what does this mean for you, the listener? Based on this one review, you're looking at Armand as a film with a really gripping, difficult premise.
Definitely. Anchored by what sound like outstanding performances, especially Renate Reinsve.
And an opening that really pulls you in with its tense atmosphere.
But according to this critic, you need to be prepared for a film that then takes some stylistic detours that might feel disconnected.
Yeah, these unusual scenes, and crucially, an ending that doesn't wrap things up neatly, it leaves that central question unanswered.
Which the reviewer saw as a flaw, feeling it detracted from the drama and the acting.
So you get this impression of a talented director making a promising but perhaps uneven first film. Some clear strengths, some notable weaknesses in structure and payoff, at least for this critic.
Right. This deep dive gives you one perspective on those strengths and weaknesses, so you can judge if it sounds like your kind of drama.
And it does bring up an interesting point, doesn't it? The reviewer felt the lack of resolution about the truth was a negative, but is ambiguity always a failure in a film? Especially when dealing with something so complex and potentially unknowable as the truth between two young children.
That's the question, right? Could leaving you unsure, leaving you grappling with it, actually be the point? Serve a different kind of purpose?
Something to think about, maybe, regarding what you expect or want from a drama like this. Does it need to give you answers, or is the questioning enough?